right. Well, you guys have your guest of honor, your Uncle
Yes,
Pastor Phil. And so,
yes,
with that said, I am going to dip out if that is all right.
that's all right. Thank you for holding the fort down for a half an hour. We
Thank
appreciate that.
you. Thank you for having
I
me.
definitely
Love
wanted to
y'all.
love you, sis. Have a
Love you
good one,
too.
Uncle Pastor.
What up? What up? What
What's
up?
what's going on, brother?
I don't
So
know. I just fought through traffic and road closures and accidents and
this
um,
would be the one day that you had to go into your office, right? But
yeah.
it's all good. I don't know if you tuned in earlier, but I asked Jackie to get on at the beginning of the show with you, because I just wanted to take an opportunity, and I'm not going to go through all the stuff that I did previously, but I just wanted to give you guys, because I wasn't in church on the day that they celebrated you guys' anniversary, and so I wanted to take this opportunity to just thank you and Jackie, for all that you guys do, not only for the church, but for me, myself, and my family, in general. Um, like I said, I told them earlier, it feels good to come to church and have fun again, which is something that I felt like I had personally lost. And, as I was telling Jackie and the relationship that I have with you, as well as the relationship that I had with her, goes before you guys were ministers and, now, pastor in the church and everything. There's the famous story of you and I shutting down the piano lounge on the Carnival Cruise Line, that I will never ever forget. We had so much fun on that cruise, man. But it was just important to me, man, to give you guys your flowers and to just say thank you all for everything that you do, as friends, as brothers, and most importantly as our pastor. And I just wanted to make sure that I reiterated that to you guys, and that's why I wanted to have her on early.
Oh man, yeah. I remember, whoever going to forget, shutting the piano bar down.
What was the song we sang?
Easy like Sunday
Easy
morning.
like Sunday morning. Bam. Like Sunday
And then ask, you guys coming back tomorrow night?
And Ty, before you ask, no, we will not sing that song on a Sunday. No, we will not be performing that song on a Sunday. We appreciate you.
Man, we just took the guy's gig over.
Yes, and Reverend Jackie and Cece on that bull. She just put that in the comments. I forgot about that. Yes, they were on a bull
that I told them not to get on. I specifically told them, whatever you do, don't get on that bull.
You weren't a pastor at the time, so they didn't listen to you. They might listen to you this time. I doubt it, but the opportunity presented itself. They probably, CC would do it again. I don't know about Jackie, but CC would definitely do it again.
Yeah,
but look, man, this is the month that we at Victorious Living Faith are celebrating 4 years, man, and it's crazy to me that it's been that long when I think about the fact that you started with this idea on the second floor of the daycare across from St. Stephen's, man. And I just want you to talk a little bit about that idea, what you had in mind when you started that Saturday service and the process that it's taken to get you to this point.
Well, we actually, Pastor Grace actually started that Saturday service. I don't know why he started it, but he did. And then in the process, he was seeing that, you remember 7:30 Bible study?
Yeah.
7:30 Bible study was starting to dwindle down. And so what Pastor Grace said, okay, we're gonna shut down the Saturday service, and we're gonna take the concept to 7:30 Bible study, and that revived 7:30 Bible study. But it was something about that, and just God wouldn't let me drift far from it. So I went to Pastor Grant and said, hey, I want to start the Saturday service back up. God has given me this vision, and I want to start the Saturday service back up. And so he said, okay, go ahead. And so it was the gathering. And so, we had some good times in that upper room ministry.
The upper room.
The upper room. And then, that ran for a year, and through things that happened, it closed down. But even before the gathering, God had given me victorious living faith. He had given me those 3 words. It wasn't even a title. It was just 3 words: victorious living faith. And I didn't know why these 3 words just kept resonating in me. And so it closed down, but I just still felt that God was tugging on me to do something. And there was these 3 words. And then finally it was made clear what I was supposed to do. And I really didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
After being Pastor Gray's armor bearer for 12 years, I saw what a pastor went through. And so it was not my desire. But when God lays something on your heart, he's going to have his way. And so it was all God. It had nothing to do with me, because I was good. And so we left St. Stephen's, and when we left St. Stephen's, as y'all all kind of know, we just kind of like disappeared. Now there was some people who knew that what was going on. Matter of fact, I think I did call you. Yeah. I had talked with the pastor then. So we didn't just disappear to the congregation. We did, but I had a conversation with the pastor beforehand, and I really won't get into that. But so I followed where God led. And as I said Sunday, God put some things in place. And even when you say that, really and truly, he started putting things in place back in 2004. That's when I met Reverend Jackie. See, he was giving me the perfect person then that was going to help me for what he was setting me up for. So really and truly, the setup started way back then.
Shout out to Toyota. Shout out to Toyota.
And so, so as I said, when we left St. Stephen's, I really didn't, tell a lot of people where it was going, because the vision that God gave me to plant VLF, there was no vision that I would disrupt something else. So that's why I purposely, when we left St. Stephen's, I didn't really say anything, because I didn't want any confusion and things like this going on. So it was just kind of a drifting away. So that's why I say on that first Sunday, we did everything, and we found the building, and God put stuff in place. And every time I'm sitting there thinking, am I really supposed to be doing this? And it would be this money factor, and I was like, well, God, I guess it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And then money would just come from nowhere. We would normally look for money to come from nowhere, and this was the time I did not want money to come from nowhere, because I still wasn't, that I wanted to be anybody's pastor. And so we did everything that we were supposed to do, and we got set up for the first service. And I'm tired, you are sideways, and it's freaking out. And we got set up for the first service, and on on our way to the first service, I was talking to God in the car. I said, God, you put everything in place, but we ain't got no members.
Mm.
But the doors opened on that first Sunday, and people just came, and so they've been coming in ever since.
So,
Go ahead.
but you've preached several times about the fact that you knew that God was calling you to do this, but you kept running. You kept running. You kept running.
Yeah.
You talk about how, you know, of course, being armor bearer for Pastor Gray and seeing the stuff that he makes you go through, you know, made you say, heck no, I'm not going to be nobody's pastor. So what was that point or that moment that made you finally decide to stop running and say, okay, God, I'm going to listen. I understand that, you know, this is what you want me to do, and I'm going to, you know, follow the steps that you're laying for me now instead of continuing to run. Because you know, if you run too long, you're going to get caught eventually.
See,
if BLF would have started 4 years ago, it would have started this year. So you was going to have to stop running eventually.
See, here's what happens. When you run from God, eventually you start running to God. You ever had one of them God beaten? You know, when God has laid something on your heart of what he wants you to do, and you're running in the opposite direction. And it's just like fishing. He gives you some line, then he reels you in. Give you some line, and then reel you in. And until you do what he wants you to do, it seems like nothing goes right. And that was the point, as stuff was, you know, there was things that was going haywire, and finally I said, all right, God, if this is what you want, I'll do it. And so I just, you know, now I'm just following where God leads. And so that's where that real faith comes in, that now you are walking where you don't want to go, but you are following where God leads.
That's interesting. That sounds like a story of how I ended up directing the men's choir, but that's for another that's for another show. It's just funny how that whole situation worked out. But okay, so as you make this decision to stop running and you decide to do this church, is the building, the previous building that you had, which is right down the street from where we are now, was that the original building for VLF?
I always say the original building was the second floor of the academy. Okay. The gathering was really the birth of VLF.
Okay.
But yeah, 106 Riverside Drive was where VLF launched at. So let me tell you how God does things, because now I've agreed that I'm going to follow. And so our first Sunday in June was our first service. By the time we get to November of the same year, the pastor of that church that we were renting space from comes to me and says, well, we sold the building and y'all have to move. So I'm like, come on, God.
I was wondering why you guys moved out of that space.
I was like, come on. And then, so we go, it's funny that now, we are now in the process, we're looking for another building. And I forgot how and why Jackie called the building that we did move into. And but we were scheduled to go see that space. And it just so happened maybe 10 minutes before we were supposed to leave, Pastor Gray and Reverend Candace stopped by the house. And so they go with us. And we went to see the space, and it was all right. It was all right, but it had like this one conference room in it. Then there was this wall, and then there was this like smaller conference room behind that wall. And Pastor Gray and I, we are walking around and we're seeing some stuff. And I said, this would be okay. It would probably work out if that wall wasn't there. And the lady showing us, they said, we can take that wall down. Well, we signed the lease. Within 3 days, they had the wall down. It was all finished up. We moved in that week and had our first service there on that Sunday. So we signed the lease on a Monday, and that next Sunday we had our first service there. So again, when God is in the midst, there's nothing that's impossible.
I remember that partition being there. That's all I remember from that building. That partition looking like it was dividing like a super huge space. And Reverend Jackie said you guys had originally a 3-year lease on that space. So it's just, amazing.
We had a 5-year lease on that space. And so when COVID hit, we weren't having in-person services. And but during the pandemic, during the height of when COVID was, and we weren't having in-person services, our numbers actually grew. And so now I was faced with this problem, because looking at how the numbers were, the space that we had, we couldn't go back to that space because we had literally during the pandemic outgrew it. So now I have another issue.
Oh, you're talking about the space in Harford County now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we have this other issue that we have a 5-year lease on this space. We've outgrown the space. What's going to happen here? And so, when we was out for the pandemic, 19 months we hadn't set foot in there, but we still, I'll tell you, this is how God blesses. That all of our bills for that space, we paid every month, just like we was there. And so as I'm going through my head now, what are we going to do here? How is this going to work out? The management company calls me and says, hey, if you need to get out of your lease, we will let you out. Now, keep in mind, I did not call them. I had never asked about this. They called me out of the blue one day, and they put this to me. So I'm saying, okay, God, what's your plan? What's your plan? And so our current space now, we actually found that building by accident. And as we're now, trying to figure out where we're going to move to, I had this dream one night. And in the dream, God only told me one thing, that the building would not look like a church on the outside, but it would on the inside. And it would have red carpet. And I told Jackie this 3 weeks before we found the building. So when we first walked in, the first thing Jackie said is, it's got red carpet. And so here we are.
Jackie's talking about the space in Harford County and how you guys had to make a dining hall in the hallway.
Yeah, we had our first we had our first friends and family day when we was in Harford County. And so, and Antoine, you came and preached the morning service. Wink, wink. And
y'all set me up and put Reverend Neal in the afternoon service.
and so literally, we were the only occupants that was there, that was on that floor, that was on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So literally we covered every wall in the hallway. We set tables out, and boom, and we had a dining hall. Now the funny thing is, we actually set the space up on that Saturday night, and right across the hall from us was a psychologist, and we did not know that she was in her office that night. So we literally blocked her in her office. She opened the door like, help!
Wow.
So some good times.
We don't have those issues anymore, and that's how God works. You don't have those issues any longer.
That's how God works. I mean, as you can say that, God threw everything in place. So I just sit back and just am in awe of what God does.
So how and when did my special co-host for the night come into play? How did Ty come into the fold?
Ty came into place when we was in Joppatown. Jackie met Ty on Facebook.
Wow.
And so Ty came and he sung for us, and I was like, that boy good. That boy good. And but he was at a church then. But like I said, when we look at stuff, we look at our one piece of life, and God looks at the whole picture. And so he's putting the pieces into place this whole time. And so, we stayed in contact with Ty, and it just so happens that when we got this building, because when we got this building, and it is a blessing. And I said, God, I thank you for the building. I thank you for all that you've done, but can I have a praise team? And so first there was Ty, okay, and then others just got added. And so I sit back, y'all don't know me. I told y'all this one day during service that the praise team is an answer to a prayer. And I sit in awe of everything that God has done, that he's going to do, and that he will do.
Yeah. I sat there and I watched Ty that first Sunday I came do that whole service by himself, and I was like, man, we can't let this brother do this. Yeah, too many former choir members. I was like, there's no way we can let this brother carry this service by himself every Sunday. But salute to you for it, Ty, because if it was me personally, there is no way.
You got to keep in mind, say now what we did, we had it was during COVID, so we had a service at the house. And you know me, we're going to feed people. So we had a service, and then we had a cookout afterwards, and Ty came and his kids came and Brittany came, and they was all good. And so a way to a man is through his children. And so, they got to come and get in the pool and ate all they want. And so Ty really didn't have too much choice then.
Hey, Ty, remember the fishing line that he gave earlier?
He really didn't have too much choice, because the kids are like, we want to stay here.
Most certainly. They were hooked.
So basically you guys stood up and didn't even realize you were being set up top, but it became a blessing.
I realized looking back at it now, it was a setup from the jump.
Yeah. Your invitation was part of the setup. It wasn't by happenstance that I started talking. Oh, no.
Reverend Jackie said Jackson actually made the decision for you guys to keep coming back. So
Surely did.
But all of this, man, is just truly a testimony of how God has really laid everything out, especially over this past year, from you guys getting the building to, you know, the way that everything has grown since then. And, you know, like I told Jackie, I had gotten to the point where church wasn't fun for me anymore. And I felt like when it got to the point where it started feeling like it was a job, or when I was waking up on those Sunday mornings, like, man, you know, don't really want to go to church. I'm just going because it's what you're supposed to do on Sunday mornings, you know. And I always now just sit back and look at the way that it played out with Jackie and Key being the co-authors of the book, and Jackie asking me to, you know, have them on the show to talk about the book. And then Jackie and I having the off-air conversation where I mentioned to her that I had started giving some thought to joining VLF. And I didn't say it to her at the time, but I mentioned it tonight, that really the only thing that was keeping me from becoming a member once you guys opened back up was that I thought you guys were still going to be in Joppatown. So she just happened to, you know, she kind of gave me that elbow, and she was like, you know, we're going to be opening in Essex soon. And I felt like that was the, you know, the confirmation for me to go ahead and join. But the one thing I want to ask you, Phil, because we have now the story of the birth of VLF, but you're not originally from Baltimore, man. And I want to know what on God's green earth brought you up this way, and just, you know, talk a little bit about, you know, where you're from and how you arrived here to have Jackie sitting at your desk purchasing a car at Toyota on Bel Air Road.
Well, here's the thing. I was actually born in Baltimore.
Then, okay.
Belmont Avenue.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
And so after my grandfather passed, we moved to North Carolina, which I was probably around maybe 3-4 then. So really and truly, my formative years, I was raised in North Carolina. But yeah, I was born in Baltimore.
I know that. Okay.
And so, you know, growing up in the South, and then I said, you know, I was born in Baltimore, had never really been there. So I decided in 94 that I was going to move back up here. And so hence, I mean, it was just a change of scenery.
Yeah. And
hence, I'm here.
That's amazing, because I'd always thought that you were born in North Carolina, raised in North Carolina. I didn't think that you got here until like your adult years. So
no. I was born here, but you know, by the time I was 3, we was moving to North Carolina. So then I'm back, and I said, you know, God just put stuff into place.
Yeah.
And if I really and truly look, 94 is when he started putting stuff into place.
Okay, so what happened in 94?
94 is when I moved back up here. You know, it's just a change of scenery. I needed to get away, and so, you know, it occurred to me that I was born in Baltimore, but I never really lived there. And so what was that like? And hey, decided to come back up, and I'm here, and you know, got here, and when the first church that I went to when I came to Maryland was a Baptist church, Zion Baptist Church, over on Caroline Street. Then eventually moved out of Baltimore City. Tried to figure out why did I know I wanted to come back to Baltimore, but why did I come back to Baltimore? So moved out into the Essex area. I was raised in the AMEZ church. And so when I moved to the Essex area and I seen St. Stephen's sitting there, I was like, you know what? I should really go to that church. It's AME, it's not AMEZ, but they're really and truly both the same thing. And so one day, Jackie and I, as we were in our dating year, we was riding past that, and I said, you know what? I want to go to that church one day. And she said, I'm a member of that church. And I go there, start meeting them. See, no, let me see. Went there, my first Sunday there, Reverend Pullum's preaching.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm sitting there, you know.
Wow.
I'm in the pew and I'm sitting with Jackie, and I got, you know, how you have your arm up on the pew. Reverend Pullum say, hey, you ain't mad at that girl. What you doing over there? Get your arm down. I'm like, who is this crazy man? But I enjoyed Reverend Pullum. I enjoyed Reverend Pullum. And then I met Pastor Gray. And and the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. Jackie said you was all hugged up.
Yeah. Oh, booed up.
Yeah, because it's funny because St. Stephen's was actually the, you know, I had been out of church and actually had never officially been a member of a church, but by the time I had met Cecily, I hadn't been to church in forever. And really had no desires to go to church at that point for whatever reason. And once she and I met, I just remember a couple of weeks later, she was like, yeah, I'm getting ready to start going to this church. And, you know, the man side of me said, well, if I'm gonna get this woman, I guess I need to start going to church too. And that's how I pretty much ended up at St. Stephen. And as like you just said, the rest is history. St. Stephen's, man, especially back then, was such an amazing experience. You know, it was funny to always be looked at as the tall guy, and the first time that you walk into the church, you see Ray Sitnor, you know, at 6'9", about 325 pounds, you know, standing next to Pastor Gray, who was every bit of, you know, 5'3", $170 at the most. And just the way that they embraced us, you know, from the very beginning. Like I told Jackie earlier, I think 3 weeks into me attending that church, my uncle had gotten attacked by some young guys up on Park Heights, and we had to make the decision eventually as a family to take him off of life support. And I didn't know what to do, so I called Pastor Gray. And Pastor Gray came with Ray Sitnor and Antonio Pittman, and they literally were there beside the family, and he ended up preaching the funeral as well. And little stuff like that, when you haven't been in a church and you're not used to that kind of stuff happening, means the world to you. You know what I mean? When the pastor, who at that time doesn't even really know you as a person, but understands his position as a pastor, you know, to step up and do that, like that spoke volumes to me. And then somewhere along the line, I don't even remember when me and you met, bro. Like it was, you was just there one Sunday and we was cool. I thought about this last week, and I was like, I don't remember the time when Phil and I actually met. I just know that me and Jackie had a previous friendship because, again, I used to coach her sons in basketball, and you were just there, bro. Like you just popped up one day, and we've been like mad cool, ever since. And our love for anything related to food I think is what has always been the bond for us, man. But look, as I look back over those days, and times that we had there, and look how God has just moved it to the fact that you're literally my pastor now, and I look at you and respect you in that manner. But at the end of the day, you always just gonna be Brother Phil to me, like it's crazy how that how it's all played out, so to speak.
I realize that there's some people that God just puts in your life.
Yeah.
You can't really figure out the day and time that you met them. They're
literally
just there. And you can't figure out, how you became friends. You're just friends. And so
really?
I've actually stopped questioning that, because there are people that are going to cross your path. They are seasonal people and they are permanent people. Seasonal people are just there for a season. They're going to come and go. You're supposed to get something from them, and then they're going to be gone. And then there are people who are always going to be a part of your life. And a whole lot of times how we get stuff twisted is that we confuse seasonal people with permanent people.
Yeah.
And so, but St. Stephen's was the foundation, and the day I met Pastor Gray is when I started my pastoral training. Because really and truly everything that I know about pastoring came from him. And
so,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so let me ask you this. So I can imagine the pastoral training under Pastor Gray, because I've heard him say on many of occasions that if, as your teacher or your leader or whatever, when the training is happening, if he can break you down and make you want to quit, then you weren't truly called to be in the ministry. How do you approach the training now that you have ministers under you, that you're training to bring up in the ministry?
Well, they know it's the same thing. Because see, here's the thing, and here's what I don't play with, and that is, ministering the word of God. You're going to call yourself a minister. It's not a title. It's who you are. And being a minister doesn't start when it does not stop when benediction said. If you're a minister, you're a minister. And so it's the same thing. Because I'm not going to, I don't purposely ride people, but I'm going to be, I'm open and honest. And I give criticism to build you up and not to tear you down. But, some people can't take criticism. They just want to be right. And that's not what ministry is. Because, there's none of us perfect. And, we all need that little push to help us through. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I know everything, because I don't. But I just pray that God leads me as I lead them. Again, was not something that I wanted to do, because see, at the end of the day, and see, this is the thing that I say about pastoring. At the end of the day, all of my members, I have to answer to God to. I'm responsible. Not a position that I wanted to be in, but hey, I'm here. And so I just try to do the best that I can to help them. Because see, my job is to equip them, is to give them the tools that they need to minister the word. Not to just, because I mean, Ty will tell you, you know, our minister work. And that's the only way that you're really going to learn. You know, classes can give you all of the theories and all that good stuff, but the only way you're really going to learn is to be out there and minister unto the people. And so yeah, you know, there's times, you know, I've had to tell Ty a couple of times, do we need to go outside? But it's all good. It's all good. And so yeah, my thing is, if I can make you quit, then you weren't called.
Go ahead, Ty.
So, what are some of the biggest or top lessons that being in ministry has taught you?
Oh man, biggest and top lessons that being in ministry has taught me. Stay humble. God is in control of everything. Not everything is going to go your way. And even if it doesn't go your way, God is still in control. There's a reason for everything. I've learned this. The word coincidence is not in my vocabulary now. The word happenstance is not in my vocabulary now concerning God, because with God, there is no coincidences. It just happened to happen. No, he has a purpose for everything. Now, we may not see the purpose right offhand, but he has a purpose for everything. And so I have learned, believe it or not, my faith has grown stronger than it was from year one, where it's at now. Because I've just seen God do too many things. And so it's just been this faith walk.
I'm sorry, I had to go kill my dog because he wouldn't stop barking.
Oh my goodness,
bro! I'm sorry. Where were y'all? Where were y'all?
Pastor Phil was letting us know what the top lessons that he's learned being in ministry.
Yeah, I had a Friday flashback. I was like, "You see it, dog? You choking, dog." That's what I wanted to do right there.
And you know what? One thing I have learned in ministry, not everybody's going to like you.
Yeah.
And I'm good.
They're not supposed to, I feel.
Not everybody is going to like you. But again, there's seasonal people and there's forever people. Some people are just in your life for a season. And so, you know, that was a hard one there. Because there were some people who I thought, you know, that we're just going to be tight forever. And they just kind of drifted away. And so that was a hard one there. But you know,
that's a lesson that I try to constantly teach my son, because my son a lot of times is loyal to a fault. So, and Pastor Gray actually was preaching one day, and he mentioned the greatest math lesson that you will ever get is sometimes in order to multiply, you have to subtract. And I didn't understand what he was saying at the time, but as I thought about it, he basically meant in order to grow as a person, sometimes you have to, you know, you got to let some people go, you got to let some things go. And you know, in ministry, the one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people, when they accept that calling and they become ministers, their circle immediately begins to decrease. And I look at it sometimes and I say, well, what was the point of the people that were there, that left when you joined that ministry, and were they really, true friends, or were they, as you keep saying, tonight, Pastor, were they just seasonal? And it's hard to decipher between the two sometimes, because sometimes people, even when they are seasonal, they're also lingerers, and they find a reason to just, kind of hold on and continue to be around until, sometimes you got to kick them off the tree all together. And, they don't understand that, everybody's not meant to be on the ride with you.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's really a hard lesson, because you have, you have those friends, man, and you kind of feel like, and I'm just speaking from personal experience, because I know for a fact now that I have, like, my wife used to say that every time we went somewhere, there was somebody there that I know. But there's a difference between knowing people and being friends with people.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are friends with me today are the same people that were in my life as my friends almost 30 years ago when C and I first started, And when I tell my son this, it kind of blows his mind sometimes, that, like, Dad, you only have a certain amount of people, but you know so many people. And I just tell him, you can, there's a difference between a friend and an associate. And there's a difference between an associate and somebody that you just happen to know, somebody that just happens to, be in your space for whatever, but that doesn't always make them a friend. And it just amazes me sometimes that people, once they join the ministry and they start taking that walk, and the funny part is, it's not even always their doing. People are like, oh, so you're a minister now, you're too good. We don't, that blows my mind. But I've literally seen it not only at St. Stephen's, but, of people that I know, personally, that are ministers, that I know for a fact that once they made the decision to accept their calling, like, people just started dropping like flies. And I always make it a point to try, if it's meant for me to continue to be there, I try to continue to be there for them, as friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you find that in ministry, and like I said, it was a hard one, but then I had to realize still that God has a reason for everything. And so if you drift out of my life, it was time for you to go.
Season was over.
And sometimes, I mean, because there are people who I have laughed with, cried with, prayed with, that I thought was going to be in my life forever, and they drifted away. And it hurt, but then I had to realize, okay, your season is over. And I don't think hard of you. I have no ill will. It's just that your season was over. It's not for you to be mad about and tore up and all that stuff. It's just that their season was over. Live with it, because that's the only thing that you can do. And keep on moving forward. But you just have to realize that there are some people who are going to be moved out of your life.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
And as a pastor, how do you separate, or how do you, I don't know if separate is the right word, but I think sometimes when you're a pastor and you're such a genuine person that you were actually friends with the majority of your congregation, before you even became a pastor. Sometimes you still have to make those tough pastor decisions. How do you handle that situation, or is that something that just varies depending on the situation?
It just varies, and the first thing is prayer. First, I mean, I've learned now in all of my decisions, I pray over it first, and I let God lead. And I found as long as I let God lead, it works out. I can't let Phil lead, because Phil will mess some he will mess stuff up. So I have to let God lead. And so far, one of my biggest prayers is that, God, I don't know how big you're going to grow VLF, but God, if you grow it real big, give me strength. Because as you know, I don't want members just to be the numbers. I want to have a relationship with each and every member. So I just said, God, give me strength. And so every time someone new joins the church, I'm like, Lord, I need some more strength.
That's one of those be careful what you ask for kind of situations, though.
Yeah. So I'm saying, Lord, I need some more strength. Oh, got 2 new men. I need some more strength, Lord. Because, church should not be hard. In fact, church should be the easiest thing in your life. Church is that place you can go for that hour or whatever, that you can get away from the world, that you can get your spiritual recharge, that say whatever you was going through before you went into service, that you can get your spiritual recharge and say, you know what? I think I can make it. And that's why I say church should not be hard. It should be the easiest thing in your life.
I'm gonna let that marinate for about 2 seconds. That's yeah. So I mean, at this point, VLF is 4 years old. Did you think it would make it this long? Truthfully,
you know what? When we started this journey, I was just following where God leads. I didn't know how long it was gonna last, and I'm still following where He leads. I remember Jackie and Kiara had went to this women's retreat workshop, and the lady speaking, during one of their breaks, the lady just happened to come and sit at their table, and they was talking about VLF, and she said to them, 5 years. If your ministry lasts 5 years, it's not going anywhere. If it lasts 5 years, it's going to be set in stone. And so I guess what I've been looking at since then was the 5-year mark.
Did she give a reason as to like why the 5-year mark?
I don't know. I would have to go back and ask Jackie. But basically, she was hopping on that 5 years. And always when I do marriage counseling, and I got this from Pastor Gray, that the first 5 years in a marriage is the hell years. That's the years of blending everybody together, all different personalities together. And that's the hell years. And if your marriage can last past those first 5 years, man, you got a good shot of staying together forever. But it's something about them first 5 years. So I don't know. So,
and then the 5 years after that, and the 5 years after that.
but you know what? We got 4 down. I praise the Lord. We got 4 down, and it's been, it's been a trip. When you see all of the stuff of planting a church, and not even the stuff that you see on the top side, but stuff that you see on the bottom side, as of getting your 501c3 and getting your state tax exempt and going through all of these changes and making sure you are incorporated and all that stuff. It's all this stuff that you go through. I tell people right now, pastor the church, preaching on Sunday morning, that's the easiest part.
Yeah.
It's all this other stuff that goes along with it. It's that stuff of dealing with people and how you saying shepherding the sheep. If you read biblically, they always talked about Jesus is the good shepherd. It was always this thing of shepherd and sheep. But now you have to go back and look at that culture. The Bible says there's a difference between the hired hand and the shepherd. The hired hand, when the lion and the bear come, they'll leave. I'm out of here. But the shepherd will lay down his life for the sheep. The shepherd is always there to do whatever the sheep need. And so when you talk about shepherding sheep, that's the thing that, somebody called at 2 a.m, something going, hey, my phone is sitting right beside the bed. I'm picking up because, that's what the shepherd does.
Yeah.
And so, it's something that becomes part of your life. There is no, you try to go on vacation, but there is no real vacation from that.
Yeah.
Because there's many times you go away somewhere and you look at the phone and such and such, and I got the answer.
Yeah.
And so, that's the like I said, preaching on Sunday morning, that's the easy part.
And that's why I'm glad that you guys did have a chance recently to just get away for some. I think we did a pretty good job of holding things down and not burning the building down while you guys were gone. And I just kept saying, I like, y'all know Phil watching.
But you know what? See, here's what God has put into place. God has put this team into place.
Yeah.
That the church runs. See, keep in mind, the church does not revolve around Philip.
Yeah.
VLF is way bigger than me. I'm just the guy who got the short straw to be the pastor. But the church can operate by itself. And now I'm gonna tell you, I think that was the first time of being away. It was almost like, man, I'm leaving the kids by themselves. I don't know what's gonna happen. But I just see that God has just put this team in place, and everybody does what they need to do and fill in where they need to fill in. And all
right, I don't know what Spencer's talking about right here, but he said we're gonna prove it again this Sunday.
Oh yeah. This Sunday, I will not be there this Sunday. Meshawn's preaching. I am actually preaching at Kyle's Temple AMEZ in Durham, North Carolina.
Okay.
This Sunday. And so so here we go again. But like I said, God has put this team in place that I'm not even worried.
Yeah.
Because y'all handle it, y'all is everything that needs to be done is done. The people are served, and hey, I mean, I look back from when this all started to where it is now, and you just see this growth factor. And my thing is not just growing in numbers of people, not just growing financially, but spiritually growing. That's my building thing there. That's what I want to build. I want to build spiritually. I really and truly, I could care less about having a big building. If God says so be it, then so be it. But my thing is for the people to be spiritually built. And so that's what I want to build. Everything else will just come.
Yeah. Ty?
Pastor Phil, I got 2 questions just to pick your brain. It's a little bit of a change of pace, but I want to pick your brain a little bit. So, as a preacher, I want to know, who are your top 5 preachers to listen to?
Top 5 preachers.
Whoa.
Top 5 preachers to listen to. All right.
Dylon.
Okay, so do I got to put an order on them?
Nah, you don't have to put them in order. We won't do that to you.
All right. Of course, Pastor William A. Gray III.
Hey, the 5 o'clock Pastor Gray or the 11 o'clock Pastor Gray?
5 o'clock Pastor Gray or 11 o'clock Pastor Gray? See now, 5 o'clock Pastor Gray. Wait a minute. 5 o'clock.
3 o'clock. I'm
3
sorry.
o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Now, the 3 o'clock Pastor Gray has done had church tea. And so I used to have to limit him. Okay, you only get 2 glasses. Because if he got 3, I didn't know what was going to happen.
Definitely a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference. The 11 o'clock.
Okay.
No. Actually, the 8 o'clock. The 8 o'clock, Pastor Gray. All right, Bishop John Bryant. I'm telling you, Bishop Bryant, you sit and you listen to him. Whoo. Let me see here. So that's 2. Let me see here. Top 5.
That's tough. Jeez.
Now, TD Jakes. I got a couple of chances to go in person to hear TD Jakes. Great preaching, and
at the most church.
And it's kind of, I like TD Jakes' style because he's a preacher teacher. And so that's kind of that. You want to give the people more than a shout. You want to give them something that they can take from the service. I always tell my ministers, because they'll ask me right after they preach, how was the word? I was like, wait. And then when I hear when people come back to me and they can tell me, what they preached about and what it meant to them and how it resonated in them, then, it's a good word. Because see, that's the main thing. Yeah, you want to get a shout, but you want them to be able to take something from that, to have another tool. Because do you remember Jay-Z's Empire State of Mind?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big controversy of his line of life begins when the church ends. There was a big controversy about that. And see, you have to realize that once you leave out of church, guess what? Real life is sitting out there waiting on you.
Literally.
Yeah.
And so on Sunday morning, not only do you want to, I would rather give them another tool that they can take back out when they face real life than have people falling out in the aisles and wigs flying off and all that good stuff, because life is there. You're going to walk back, benediction's going to be said, the doors are going to be closed, and you walking back into real life. Matter of fact, that hell that you left when you came to church, when you leave out, it's still sitting there waiting on you.
Yeah.
So the people need to be able to carry something back out, that I have another weapon now to deal with that. So we got Pastor Gray, we got
John Bryant,
we got TDJ. Let's see here of my. I'm gonna tell you, Reverend Pullum is in my top 5. I like Reverend Pullum because Reverend Pullum was just straight raw. There was no punches pulled.
That's not even the word to justify Reverend Pullum. I would have to think of the word to justify his style of preaching.
He was just...
You know how they say sometimes you got to have your combat boots on? They don't have combat boots strong enough sometimes for Reverend Pullum and his word.
Now, you had to have combat boots, steel toe, and then have another steel toe on that steel toe.
Yeah. I think about that guy all the time because the house that he used to live in for years is right around the corner from me. So I literally, every time I'm going to get on 95, I pass his house, and I always think about that brother, man. He was a great guy. He was a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5.
Okay, number 5. Number 5.
No, I don't remember that at all. Was I
You
there?
don't remember that? You don't remember that? Were you there?
I don't remember ever seeing him at Oak Street, so no, I might not have been there.
No. Anointed Praise was singing. Matter of fact, no, you were there because this is the same Sunday where I can't think of that guy's name who started playing a song and he didn't know the song.
Oh, we just talked about that not too long ago. Shoot. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
But it was the same Sunday. Reverend Pullum was
Oliver.
He was sitting up in the pulpit. The choir had just sung something. It was a good song. It's one of them that got the people shouting, and he came out of the pulpit and he was, up front, and he was shouting, and then so he was walking back in the pulpit, and they had a container of anointed oil there, and Reverend Pullum grabs it, takes the top off, he pours a handful in his hand, and he throws it on the choir.
I really don't remember that. I know I would have got mad if that oil would have got on my shirt, but
Woo! Oh, I remember that. All right, so so we need number 5. We need number 5. Number 5. Number 5. Who we gonna have? Number 5. John Wesley at Alfred Street Baptist in Alexandria, Virginia.
That's my guy.
Yeah. He would round out my 5.
Okay. And my second part to that, and definitely a change of speed, is what is on Pastor Phil's music playlist?
Oh man.
Some old school hip hop.
Well, yeah, there's some old school hip hop, and the reason that there's old school hip hop because I can't hear nobody cussing me out all day. I'm serious. You ain't gonna be cussing me out all day.
I feel you.
But let me see here. There is some Anthony Brown. He's definitely there. Ty Tribbett, still like Ty Tribbett.
No Other Choice. That's my favorite song from Ty Tribbett.
Dietrich Haddon's there. Charles Jenkins is there. I'm trying to think. Lecrae is there.
You know what? I'm interested. Hey Ty, what's on your playlist? Ty? Did we lose him again?
He's on mute. Well, I don't know. I
think he's frozen again.
Is he froze or is he faking froze?
He's faking froze. Ty, yeah. What's on your playlist, Ty? He's muted.
Come off mute.
There we go. Man, I don't know if the Saints that are watching are ready for this. No, so definitely have Jay-Z heavy in the rotation. And then most of mine is rap, but as of late it's been gospel rap. So a gospel rapper by the name of D Black, GS, Bizzle, Mouthpiece.
I love Bizzle.
Yeah. Honestly, I think my top 4 gospel rappers can go word for word, blow for blow with any secular rapper. But then I got to round it out also with my favorite artist, which is Musiq Soulchild.
I love this first album. Just want to say that was one of my favorite albums.
Look, every album that he has put out,
wow.
I'm that fan.
Wow. So I'm gonna answer this as well, and for me, when it comes to music, it's literally the day, it's literally the time, and it's literally the vibe that I'm in. So, of course, like you, Phil, old school hip hop head to death. Ty, I've been listening to Jesus Will by Anita Wilson, the live version, a million times. I still want to kick you in your shin for not letting the men sing on that song because I just love that song to death. But it's crazy because yesterday, out of the blue, and Phil, you can probably relate to this a little more than Ty. I pulled out and put on, not pulled out, I pulled up the soundtrack from Staying Alive from John Travolta that had the Bee Gees playing, because I used to love the song Saturday Night Fever, and I used to love it's like 3 songs on that soundtrack that I love. But then I could go to, I could be in my vibe where I want to listen to nothing but West Coast hip hop, because I just want to, you know, I love Dr. Dre, and I'm an E40 fan. A lot of people don't know that, but I love E40 because E40 is different. But then I could turn around and put on like Aerosmith and just ride in the car to Aerosmith. So for me, it literally depends. Earth, Wind, and Fire is and always will be my favorite group of all time.
Oh yeah.
With New Edition right behind them. I love New Edition. I see them every time. I've been on crutches at the arena dancing to New Edition. That's how much I rock with New Edition.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It literally just depends on, you know, the vibe that I'm in. But like music, I've started, as I've gotten back to, you know, singing with the praise and worship team, I've really started to like listen to some different stuff. And Phil, you mentioned Todd Tribbett earlier, and that live version that he does with No Other Choice, when they are singing, his group has on the old burgundy jackets, which looks like the what's the Richard Allen burgundy jackets.
Oh yeah.
AME Church used to rock back in the day. He has a live version of No Other Choice, man, and that song is absolutely amazing. I would love to do that song with Ty someday, but we might need to get a guitar player or two in there before we can fully do that song some justice.
Hey man, New Edition. I got a funny story about New Edition. I was working for back in my past life when I was in the car business.
Okay.
Working at Castle Toyota. Now it's Dark Cars Toyota. Well, anyway, the general manager said, whoever sells the most cars on the previous day, whoever sells the most cars on Thursday, on Friday, they can play whatever music they want. So I happen to sell the most cars. And so what I did, they got everything from New Edition's first album to Belle Biv DeVoe to Bobby Brown to Ralph Tresvant all day.
I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
Through everything.
I would have been in there doing the dance steps and everything. I swear, I tell people all the time, I help choreograph If It Isn't Love. I took part in that. That's this part right here. That's all me. That's all me right there.
Yeah, we went through everybody's stuff. Johnny Gill, I threw on everything.
So mad that I didn't get to see them the last time they were in town. So Pastor, let me ask you this, man. I'm not trying to keep you all night, because I could talk to you for another 2 hours, but you know, I'm not gonna keep you all night. So like, what's your vision for VLF? You said that the young lady told you that once you make it to the 5-year mark, that you're pretty, you know, you're kind of there. So as we are celebrating year number 4, what's your vision between year 4 and year 5 for VLF?
Okay. As again, my vision is for the people to grow spiritually. Now, whatever happens as of new members and building, you know, that's all whatever it is. But my thing is to see who is
Oh, I gotta check that out. Is that Zoom by the Commodores? Is that what he's referring to?
Man, I'm gonna have to check that one out. It's Zoom, but my vision is to see the people grow spiritually, and I believe that that as the people grow
I'm checking that out as soon as we get off. Go ahead, man. Yeah. Finish your sentence, Phil.
So my vision is to see the people to continue to grow spiritually, and then everything else falls into place. I mean, as I say, do I look at and have some kind of game plan? Then that means Phil is leading this. And so I stay in prayer, and wherever God leads. I mean, there are things that's happening now. Like, as I was thinking today, this praise in the parking lot, and I'm like, this is actually gonna happen. I don't know what's going. This is actually gonna happen. And so I just look at all the stuff that's happening, everything that's going on, and that the people are happy. That's kind of one of my main concerns. One of the things that God gave me when he gave me the vision for VLF, he said that it's not for church people, it's for hurt people. And I couldn't, and for a while I was like, what do you mean church is not for church, it's for hurt people? But then I realized that that there are people who are walking around in hurt. They are carrying hurt. They are people who are sitting in churches and who are hurting. And VLF is that place of healing. I like to do so much outreach because, we have the hospitals. When you are physically hurt or you are sick, you have the hospital. And now there's this thing called the paramedic unit, that if you are sick and hurt and you can't make it to the hospital, the paramedic unit goes out and gets you and brings you to the hospital. The church is your spiritual hospital if you are spiritually hurt or you are spiritually sick. But the problem is, in the church, we shut down our paramedic unit. We want you to drag your sick and hurt self in. And my thing of doing so much outreach is because when you say you want to serve God's people, guess what? They're out there. The people who need your serving is out there. Some of them drift in, but they're out there. And so that's why, we try to do so much outreach, because you would be surprised at when you're serving people that they get that that they can go on.
And hey, Tracy Martin, thank you for tuning in, Tracy.
So,
one last thing before I let you go, and I'm gonna bring, since she never left, we might as well go ahead and bring her back up on the camera.
Oh, she's still here.
She ain't never left. She ain't go nowhere. Now she want to get off camera. Look at her. Come on back, Jackie. You can't get away. Come on back, Jackie.
You caught me as I done clipped up my hair and I took my glasses off now.
You never left the back. You never left the studio, so I figured you wanted to come on back. But I want to ask you guys this, because we are like VLF is in the center of a very interesting community. We have a very diverse group of people around us, and as we're doing stuff like praise in the parking lot, as the men, we're about to get together and go on this walk where we're basically just going to be out in the community. We don't even have an agenda other than to come together as men, but we're going to be out in this community, and we're definitely going to, you know, come across some people. Like, what is the impact that you would like to make in that area of Essex that we are located? Because it's crazy that when I think about where we're centered at, and I'll use the front of VLF, you can go to the right going towards St. Stephen's, and you can see a lot of people that look like us. But then right to the very right and the very left of us, we have people that don't look like us. But then if you go a little further down, you have people that are kind of in the middle, if that makes sense. We're in a very diverse area right there. So, like, what would be your ultimate goal as you're kind of sitting in the middle of a melting pot for VLF?
The goal is to continue to uplift Christ. And here's the thing. As you say, yeah, you can see, you know, you may see this color this way, this color that is, but in Christ, there is no color.
Absolutely.
And so our thing is just to uplift Christ in that community. You know, I look at, and it's true. It is a very diverse area. Like, if you go, actually, really and truly, if you go down Taylor Avenue, okay, it's people who don't look like us.
Yeah.
That whole neighborhood there. But now if you go down Maryland Avenue, it's a mixture of people. So yeah, we're in a very unique place. And that's why I have this thing of that, hey, everybody's welcome. And so it's to, you know, keep uplifting Christ and let God do what he do. Jackie?
Come on, First Lady.
So I see unity. I see unity in the sense of bringing and allowing different races and cultures to come in to, you know, to VLF and to be a part of VLF and to be family. I think one of the drawing things that is going to, or that brings people to VLF, is the fact that we are not the traditional church. And I believe that us not being the traditional church allows people, you know, the freedom to feel like, hey, the Bible says, come as you are. And so it doesn't matter if I come to church and I got on shorts. It doesn't matter if I come to church and I got on some jeans. The pastor's going to be standing up there in the jeans. You know, First Lady going to get up on Communion Sunday and she going to have on some tennis shoes.
Woo!
You know, I can go and be me and understand that the same God that, you know, they serve in worship is the same God that I serve in worship. And I believe that we could help people feel more comfortable in their own skin just by being who we are. You understand what I'm saying? And opening up the doors and extending that outreach. When I'm down there and somebody is, you know, walking by, they drive by, you know, we came out of church the other day and this guy was sitting on the bench. And he said, I'm just resting. I'm tired, you know, because it's a long walk. It was hot outside. I was like, come on, sir, get in the car. I will give you a ride to where you're going. That man couldn't speak a bit of English. He could barely speak English, but he was so appreciative. And I think that that's what the church is supposed to do. I believe that that's the, you know, how community outreach, the walls outside of the church need to be met. And I think that we are doing a good job in other areas. because I feel like we go down to Love the Hopeful, we go up to up by Golden Ring, and so we're going out into other areas. Now it's time for us to bring it, to unify the people in our own backyard.
And that's
Yeah.
it. That's exactly where I was going with that, and that's why I love the idea that Minister Ty is doing with praising the parking lot, because if you come out of our church and you go up 2 blocks, if you pass our parking lot and you go up another block, there is a church there. And when I'm coming in on Sunday morning, no one in that church looks like me. But I feel like because we're right there in that area and we're so close, that's an opportunity. Praising the parking lot is an opportunity for us to possibly connect with them, or any of the other churches that are in that area. I think that that's such a great location that we can make such a difference. And that's the reason that I asked that question, Phil, because I don't think we're there by mistake. I really don't think we're in that location by mistake. And I feel like the impact that we can have, if we can just do more stuff like the praise in the parking lot and the men's walk, we can have a great impact in that area. So I love the fact that we're there.
Now, it's not by mistake. Like I said, we found that building per se by mistake, because you Google one address and this comes up. It was a totally different street, a totally different number, but this comes up.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to the realtor and you get some history, and this what got me when we talked to the realtor. We went to see the building. The first price they gave for the building, I was like, I ain't doing that. And in the same breath, he dropped the price. And then now still keep in mind, I didn't ask him to. I didn't say anything. He did it on his own. And then in a couple of conversations later, they dropped again until they put it to a place where I said, okay, it's feasible. And so I just looked at, no, that it's not by mistake. This was God setting this thing up.
And I just want to share that, and Pastor Phil did not put this out there, but that building had been sitting empty almost 2 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Almost 2 years that building sat empty. That building was waiting, and the just like, wow, it was waiting for us. And I think that definitely that we were predestined. We did not listen. I'm sorry, Antoine. We did not want to come back to Essex. We did not.
No, actually,
hard.
Coming back to Essex was not part of the game plan.
That
but
was not in our vision.
No, it wasn't part of our game plan.
Wasn't part of our game plan.
God's game plan.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, I'm glad y'all did, because I just passed a few gas stations a day where gas was $5 a gallon. And I don't want to have to make, penitentiary decisions on whether or not I'm going to make it to church or, be able to make it to work for the week. So I'm glad y'all came back to Essex.
I was telling somebody earlier, like all of those chairs that we have in now, those chairs were actually in our garage for like 2 years.
And they were given to us. They were given to us.
What am I going to do with all these chairs?
Yes, Spencer, you are absolutely right. It felt when we walked through the doors, it really did feel like home. And I can remember management saying that this owner, he doesn't fix properties. He not gonna fix up you whatever you do, you're gonna take it take on yourself. Listen, they gave us brand new lights. Y'all see all them pretty lights we got in there? They gave us brand new lights. They gave us they put in that bathroom. I'm laughing because Spence and Phil was like, how you get them to put that in there? Listen, Antoine, people do what I want them to do.
That's a whole but it's one of those things. If you sit back and you let God do what he do, he will really and truly blow your mind.
He will blow your mind.
And the whole thing, Jackie said this to me one day, and I had to agree. There's nothing about VLF that makes sense.
Nothing.
Because it really and truly, if you want to say something from nothing, it's really and truly what it is. And so I'm just looking forward to continue to grow spiritually, to grow in numbers. I don't even really say I put an emphasis on finances because God takes care of that.
Yeah, you always say we don't need your money.
And I say God don't need your money.
God doesn't need your money. Yeah.
Okay. We need to pay P&E. We need to pay rent. But see, I believe in if you do what God would have you to do, everything falls into place. I don't have to tell people, okay, you're supposed to give. Okay, you all grown folks, you all Bible readers, you all know what the Bible says, and so I ain't got to harp on that Sunday after Sunday. And so, but finance is something that God has always taken care of for VLF, and so I'm just looking forward to what he does. And I've seen people who have ventured out and said, I'm going tithe, and then come back to me 2 or 3 months later. Okay, maybe you got something with this. So it's just mind blowing. I'm still. It's like Sunday morning is like Christmas morning. I'm just waiting to see what's the next present.
Yeah, I feel you.
But I'm telling you, when I got my praise team, well,
I don't know what that was.
Because I know.
Yeah, I don't know what that was either, Jack. But as I said in the very beginning of this, man, I'm so thankful that God laid this path, for me to end up at VLF Ministries. I'm here to serve in any capacity that you guys need me to. I love the way that the church just stepped up when I had the friend who lost everything in a fire a couple of weeks ago. We were able to bless that family with like 4 or 5 boxes of clothes and almost $700 in cash. And I literally want to say that 90% of that stuff came from VLF. Shout out to Erica. She came through like a champ.
She left another box on the table for you at the church.
And I got a box upstairs from a sister that just gave me a box on Sunday. But Jackie and Phil, I truly, again, just want to thank you guys for being Jackie and Phil. I think that's about the best way that I can put it. Again, I've known you guys long before ministry, long before pastor, reverend, and all of that stuff. And you are the same now as you were back then. And God better not, well, I can't say it like that. Can't say God better than me. I pray that God doesn't put a season on our friendship, our relationship.
Oh man, we friends forever. We had them wings together. We friends forever.
We're not gonna talk about them wings. We definitely not talking about those wings anymore. But I truly appreciate you guys, man, and I pray that we have many, many, many more years of friendship. I pray that we have many more years of growing VLF together. You guys know that Jackie, you know I can't say no to you, so I don't even like. It's done been many a times Jackie done hit me up, and it's like, but it's Jackie, so I can't say no, and and that's the love and the respect that I have for you guys. And I just truly thank you for everything that you and VLF has done and will continue to do in the future. I appreciate you guys giving us this opportunity to come on Access Granted, as we celebrate 4 years of VLF. And like I told Jackie earlier, y'all we just crawling, man. We just, we got some walking and some running to do. So I'm looking forward to the next 10, 15, 20 years of VLF and everything that God has in store for you guys, man. So I love you all. I appreciate you. Ty, I'll give you a chance to make some closing remarks, and then I'll let them make closing remarks, and then we'll get out of here.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Pastor Phil and Lady J. Antoine, thank you for allowing me to come on and chime in and be a part of this. And same thing. I'm so glad to be a part of this ministry and to be rocking with y'all. And I plan on rocking with y'all until, the end of time. So, yeah.
Because as soon as you step down, they'll be trying to have me as minister of music. And yeah.
And they're going to let me come to you. So you already know. Go ahead and get in line.
Jackie and Phil.
You know what? It's just good to be here. I finally made it on Access Granted. So between being on Victory Talk and now Access Granted, I made it.
You good.
I made it. I started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
Man got me choking on air.
Dude. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, it's just good to be here. And like I said, how VLF has grown and things that have happened. I looked at, we started going to Love the Hopeful, and now the organizer of Love the Hopeful is now a member of VLF, and we Access Granted is in the VLF Nation. So I might start, my media mogulship now. I got Victory Talk, Access Granted, and we gonna.
I mean, I've had this idea of a motivational Monday. So if you want to,
hey, we can talk about it, and so I just like how I just love how God is putting things together, and I know there's just more to come. And it's been a process, it's been a journey, there's been some ups and downs, there's been some hurt, some heartache, there's been some laughter and some crying, but as I always tell y'all, that's part of growth. And so I just love how it's growing and how it's coming together. And I'm just looking for, many more years of spreading God's word, because that's the real thing of it. That's the real, like I said, buildings and stuff like that, whatever God brings is what God brings, but it's the people growing spiritually and the building of God's kingdom. And so I just like how this kingdom building, it started, how these new ministries are just being birthed. People know, don't come to me with an idea about a new ministry, because guess what? It's now your ministry. and so I just love how it's growing, how the kingdom's growing, how the nation is going to VLF Nation. I think I said that one time, and it's just caught on. And so
it's a hashtag now. It's officially a hashtag now. That and Uncle Pastor.
Uncle Pastor, oh my.
Jackie, anything before we close out?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for allowing me to get a word in edgewise, Pastor Phil. So what I want to first of all say thank you, Antoine and Minister Ty, for just the conversation has been good and we appreciate it. I have really enjoyed it. Yes, I was sitting in a cut because I didn't want to miss nothing, but it was good. And so I thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share. I'm excited about what God is doing with the VLF Nation. I have that nervous energy. I have that nervous energy because I'm like, okay, God, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And so I want to know, what are you doing? Although he's making me wait. But so a little bit, a little fear, like, because I stand in awe as I watch the process, but it is exciting. And so I'm just, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. I'm here for the ride, the journey. And so I'm excited. Before I go, I would like a moment just to plug a few things, if that's all right. Thank you so kindly. Thank you so kindly. So please, Victorious Men of Faith, the men's ministry of Victorious Living Faith Ministries, their men's walk is going to be on Saturday, June the 18th at 12 p.m. Please bring your men, your brothers, your children, your whatever, and come on out and walk with them. I think it's going to be an awesome time, and the women are going to be there to support them. Make sure y'all have water, oxygen tanks if needed, chairs.
I just pray for overcast conditions for about 2 hours from 12 to
and then come on back on Sunday and celebrate
2 hours.
Yes. Come back on Sunday and celebrate Father's Day with us on June the 19th. And we will also be celebrating Juneteenth. So come on and celebrate with us, and then stay with us because we got a busy time going on. It is our anniversary month. Victorious Living Faith is celebrating 4 years. And so the weekend of, absolutely. So the weekend of June the 4th is June the 24th is going to be lit. It is going to be lit. So starting with June the 23rd, the women's ministry, June 23rd, the women's ministry, we will be talking about how to pray. So women, you want to get on tap with that. And then on Friday night, praising in the parking lot. You don't want to miss that. I'm trying to tell y'all something good. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that. From 6 to 8-ish.
6
until. So you want to come on and just have a good time. Bring your own chair. If you desire to be a vendor, reach out to Minister Ty. I think we still have a few couple spots that we can slide somebody in. And listen, you want to make sure that you get your VLF t-shirt. Hold that up again. You want to reach out and get your VLF t-shirt, even though it may be a little bit late to grab one right now. If you come to praise in the parking lot, there will be a table that will have some on sale. So you want to make sure that you get there and get your shirt, and then come on and celebrate our church's anniversary with us on Sunday. We are going to have a special guest preacher. We're not telling y'all who it is yet. You just got to keep watching.
Oh boy.
Wear your t-shirt. Wear your VLF t-shirt, because we're going to take pictures and we want to make sure that you are in the mix. So June is going to be fire. So did I miss anything, anybody?
Nope.
All right. You got it all?
I think you got it all. All right, man. Hey, shout out to everybody from VLF Nation that tuned in with us tonight. My sister Constance that just hopped on. Shout out to Tracy Martin. Shout out to Kendra. Shout out to my girl T Quest from Indianapolis. Shout out to the other Kendra. She was on earlier. I appreciate you guys, man. I love you. I will be back on Monday. Ty doesn't know it, but he's officially going to be on one of my acapellas and acoustic segments real soon. I hope we can make that happen.
Sing.
And that's it. Because I could talk for another hour if I wanted to, because I got so much stuff that I wanted to cover. But Phil and Jackie, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I know Phil is probably hungry because he didn't eat when he came in. He hopped right on air, and he's like me, so that man needs some food in his system. We will see you guys next week. Everybody have a good one, man. And as I've been saying, Baltimore, put the guns down. Put the guns down, man. We love you guys. We're out.
All right.